Howdy, my name is Nachizasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, I'm pretty sure we read Multiple Past Disorders, Ghost Stone, Instant Structures, The Contradictory Echo, and Candle of Life. I say this because I think I remember Candle of Life, but I do not remember reading about something called Vengefully Ironic Street Signs. So let's start with a house without a bedroom, and if I remember it, then I'm dumb. Euclid. I think everything was safe before. And looking at that dear Mr. Bear down there, I don't think I've seen this. So, the building currently integrated with 1046 is to be contained in a standard domicile containment unit. All surfaces contacting the building are to be constructed out of wooden materials. In the event of a containment breach, all portions of 1046 found outside of containment are to be surgically removed and transplanted into the original building or a suitable replacement. It is a collection of 781 separate human body parts, formerly a man named Blankety Blank. The portions of the body are alive and fully functional, despite not receiving any sustenance or containing any blood. What was this called? A house without a bedroom. Okay. 1046 is located within the former home of Blankety Blank. The portions are located throughout the home, some of the portions replacing utilities within the home, such as portions of the skin replacing 3 curtains and a lampshade, and some inhibiting function of objects within the home, such as a sink being clogged by an artery, and a large portion of the face being permanently affixed to the living room television. Yeah. At random intervals, portions will shift throughout any non-biological surface into which they are currently integrated. This shift can take anywhere from 45 minutes to several weeks. Additionally, the portion of the face integrated into the television and any other portion capable of producing sound will begin to make distraught vocalizations. Faucets located within will begin to produce small amounts of saline during this time, despite the building not being connected to any water source. It was discovered on September the 18th, 1994, after Foundation assets in the Davie Sheriff's Office Sheriff's Department followed up on reports of a house with people parts. Investigation into the alleged house revealed the anomalous properties. Subsequent surgical intervention allowed agents to achieve successful containment. It was contained on November the 19th, 1994, and classified as Euclid. Similarities between 1046 and 1582 have been noted, and investigation into a similar origin of the two phenomena is currently ongoing. Addendum. Documents recovered from the residence 1046 was located in have proven to be relevant to 1046's current condition. Further investigation into the Amalva Real Estate Corporation are ongoing. The letters were found in a bureau drawer and appear to be copies of letters that were sent to an unknown party. Dear Mr. Bear, recently I've moved into one of your company's marvelous new homes and found it to be quite luxurious. The ads are right, you really do feel like part of the home. However, I am writing you this letter due to the fact that my new house no longer contains the bedroom. Would it be possible to get a contractor out here to remedy the situation? Sincerely, Blankety Blank. Dear Mr. Bear, I don't believe you received my last correspondence, and as such I'm writing to you again. Since you did not send a contractor as I requested, I've decided to hire one of my own. Unfortunately, several injuries sustained on my property compelled them to leave without finishing. I once again compel you to remedy the error. Sincerely, Mr. Blankety Blank. Mr. Bear, this is the 3rd time I've contacted you, and I do not believe your ignorance of my issue was accidental. I demand that you send a contractor to finish my home at once. It's unacceptable for a gentleman of my stature to be reduced to sleeping in the living room. If my home is not supplied with a master bedroom within the next 3 weeks, I will be forced to summon my lawyer. To whom it may concern, those who it may concern, I am alone and trapped and dark. I am all over. I can feel the cracks of the beams. I taste the staleness of the wall. I am dry. I need my bedroom. Several days into the dawning of the sincere letter I sent an insincere man, he said I would be my house. I am a man. Don't take me anymore, please. I can't get. The remainder of the note is unintelligible. Okay, so it sounds like fine. You want your house to have some parts? You're your house now. Deal with it, man. Probably an evil, sinister cackle, like or something like that. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just really bad at real estate. So, vengefully ironic street signs. An instance of one before being recovered. It's safe? For what it's worth. All instances of 1 through 5 are to be individually shrink-wrapped in a nitrogenous atmosphere. Nitrogenous atmosphere to minimize their exposure to atmospheric carbon dioxide, and stored in standard inanimate object lockers equipped with atmospheric sensors to measure carbon dioxide concentrations, and automatic halon dispensers set to activate in case of a fire. All instances of 1 are to be stored with their arrow pointing down towards the ground. 6 cannot currently be taken into custody and is contained at the location where it was discovered. The apartment building has been purchased by the Foundation via a front company that's probably also abbreviates to SCP and is to be kept unoccupied. Dual pump systems have been constructed to evacuate the atmosphere in the room containing 6 and replace it with nitrogen. See Appendix B26 for mechanical specifications and diagrams. I feel like it's probably not in here. These pumps are to run continuously. All personnel maintaining the pumps and or researching the interface into the room containing 6 should wear standard radiation dosimeters, and comply with standard health and safety regulations for radiation exposure. Alright, so what would it do? SCP-1047 is a collection of 6 standard types of traffic and street signs, each of which induces a different anomalous effect. These anomalous effects activate when an instance of 1047 is taken from its standard pole and contained in a room where their atmospheric concentrations of carbon dioxide greater than approximately 600 ppm and or atmospheric concentrations of the various combustion products of marijuana, cannabis sativa, greater than 100 ppm. Specific activation parameters for atmospheric conditions remain to be determined, as does the precise operational definition of room. In all situations, these properties do not extend beyond the walls of the room in question and can be interrupted by opening a door or window from the outside to promote gas exchange. 18 instances in custody, is a one-way sign. When 1 is activated, the force of the gravity within the room will immediately reorient itself so that down is the direction of the arrow on the one-way sign. If, when falling towards the new direction of gravity, the direction of the arrow is changed, i.e. the sign spins in midair or collides with an object during free fall, the direction of gravity will then immediately point into the new direction of the arrow. If the room is an independent structure rather than part of a larger structure, e.g. mobile homes, camping tents, or portable toilets, the gravitational reorientation can lead to the forcible and continuous displacement of the structure in question. Such displacements tend to result in the structures being destroyed by multiple collisions with its environment, at which point 1 deactivates, but have also been known to lift the structures to the upper levels of the atmosphere, at which point 1 likely deactivates due to reduced air pressure. 23 instances in custody, is a stop sign. When 2 is activated, all vertebrate organisms within the room will immediately experience total paralysis of all voluntary muscles. Causes of death for individuals afflicted by 2 include fall-related injuries, aspiration on food, and starvation. 3, there's 31 of them, is a no parking sign. When 3 is activated, all vertebrate organisms within the room become unable to stop moving or to lose consciousness, and instead pace constantly until they die of exhaustion. As well, afflicted organisms are unable to leave the zone of influence. There's 15 of number 4, which is a merge sign. Oh god. When 4 is activated, the skin of all vertebrate organisms within the room and all surfaces, with the exception of 4 itself, that have touched the skin within the past 24 hours will immediately take on a semi-liquid consistency, causing them to bond with each other at a molecular level upon contact. Okay, there's 4 of 5. It's a yield sign. When 5 is activated, all vertebrate organisms within the room will immediately lose all volition and will sit motionless until such a time as they see or hear any statement which can be interpreted as a command, at which point they will expend the minimum effort necessary to obey if this can be accomplished without leaving the room. Note, although it can be reasonably assumed that 5's effects apply to all vertebrate organisms, the obedience effect has only been tested on humans and on trained mammals. 6 is presumed to be a speed limit 55 sign, although this cannot be directly verified due to the nature of its anomalous effect. Within its area of effect, apartment 6, number 239 Redacted Avenue, the speed of light is 55 miles per hour. As a result, relativistic effects and Cherenkov radiation at the interface mean that it is impossible to enter the apartment. Dual pumps have been constructed on site to drain the atmosphere within the apartment and replace it with nitrogen. Atmospheric concentrations are expected to drop below 6 activation parameters after 473 years of continuous operation. Okay, so Cherenkov radiation. Due to the gross differences between the local speed of light and the average particle speed in a 22 centimeter room, Cherenkov radiation emitted at the threshold of the effect consists of high energy gamma rays rather than visible light. Also, the acquisition log. 1047 was discovered on blank 2000 something following Incident A, involving an instance of 1 being stolen from a telephone pole in the city of Redacted and installed as a wall decoration in a nearby building. The resulting 5 deaths were explained as the result of a truck crashing into the building. Investigations showed that City Councilor Redacted had recently spoken out against an increase in street sign thefts and had claimed that all sign thieves would get what they deserve. When approached by the Foundation for an interview, Councilor Redacted immediately committed suicide. A second council member died of a cerebral hemorrhage at that time, as did 2 employees of the city's Department of Infrastructure. Another 2 employees of the Department of Infrastructure were struck and killed by lightning at that moment. Autopsies revealed no anomalies except that all 6 corpses had identical teeth. That's very strange. Builder Bear, not to be confused with Build a Bear. It's Keter, though. Okay, then. It used to say 1048 is currently free to roam Site-24 as it poses no threat and has been observed to greatly improve the morale of personnel that interact with it. Now, the whereabouts of 1048 are currently unknown, though it is still believed to be somewhere in Site-24. Subject is to be secured for containment, but any creation of 1048 should be destroyed on site unless further evidence warrants less extreme actions. No teddy bears are to be allowed in Site-24 to prevent any confusion or mistaken identity. Any object that resembles a teddy bear is to be reported to the security team immediately. This is not a joke. We have no idea what 1048's full capabilities are. Who knows how many of the damn things are out there by now, Dr. Carver. Description: 1048 is a small teddy bear, approximately 33 centimeters in height. Through testing, composition of the subject revealed no unusual qualities that make it discernible from a non-sapient teddy bear. The subject is capable of moving of its own accord and can communicate through a small range of gestures. The subject regularly shows affection to individuals in ways found endearing by most people. Affection is usually given in the form of a hug to the lower leg, but the subject has also been observed dancing, jumping in place, and in 2 separate events, it has even drawn childlike pictures for janitorial staff. All Foundation personnel that have interacted with the subject have responded positively to its affection, even D-class with normally sociopathic tendencies. Aww. Attempts at direct communication have not been considered successful. Though it is capable of simple gestures to indicate a yes or no answer, it will often not react to lines of questioning concerning its nature or where it originated from. It is not known if this is because it simply does not know the answers, or because it does not want to answer. Though capable of drawing pictures, it has not used its art as a form of communication beyond showing affection, even when encouraged to do so. The more anomalous behavior of 1048 was not observed until approximately 7 months after it was originally secured. It is hypothesized that the subject is able to construct crude replicas of itself using various materials by a process that has yet to be observed directly by Foundation staff. Dr. Carver has suggested that 1048 uses its endearing qualities to lull those around it into a false sense of security, allowing it to collect materials to produce these creations. Currently, there are 3 known creations of 1048 designated A, B, and C. The nature of these creations has been in stark contrast to 1048's general behavior, as all have exhibited extreme violence towards humans. A. On blank blank blank, A was discovered wandering Site-24 accompanied by 1048. Subject resembles a teddy bear similar in size and shape, but is made entirely out of human ears. Where did it get human ears? Witnesses interviewed reported that it appeared 1048 was giving a tour of Site-24 to A. Dr. Carver was called to the scene along with the security team. The security team arrived first and attempted to contain A. Subject emitted a high-pitched shriek that inflicted intense pain in the eyes and ears of everyone in a 10-meter radius. Ear-like growths immediately began growing on those within 5 meters of the subject, covering their bodies in less than 20 seconds. Every person afflicted with the symptom died within 3 minutes, resulting in the death of blank personnel, including the entire security team. Autopsies revealed the cause of death to be asphyxiation caused by an abundance of the ear-like growths infecting or manifesting in the mouths and trachea of all victims. Tracheae? 1048 and A fled the scene before Dr. Carver arrived and have not been contained since the incident, though the sightings of both have been reported on multiple occasions. Shortly after this incident occurred, a researcher was discovered missing an ear. According to him, it was removed through unknown means while he was sleeping. No other victims of ear removal were found, so it is unclear if 1048 obtained more ears from another source, or if it is capable of duplicating objects or materials. B. Subject was discovered by several Foundation staff members in the cafeteria of Site-24 on blankety blank blank. The appearance was nearly identical to 1048, but it moved in an irregular, jerky manner. Witnesses reported that it appeared as if something was moving inside of it. Subject made no attempt to interact initially until a burst in its seams revealed what appeared to be the hand and arm of a human infant poking out and grasping at the air. At the sight of this, a female researcher named blank blank screamed, and B reacted by emitting a high-pitched cry similar to that of a human infant. The subject then attempted to data expunge the screaming researcher, causing massive internal damage. In the ensuing chaos, a security team was forced to redact both the researcher and B. Approximately 3 hours after the incident, Dr. Blank was found unconscious and bleeding in her office. An abortion had been performed on her while she was sleeping, and the 8-month-old fetus was never found. It is hypothesized that 1048 used Dr. Blank's unborn child to create B. Information regarding the possible origin of B is not to be leaked to the survivors currently undergoing therapy for the incident with B, as Dr. Carver believes it will be extremely detrimental to their recovery. And then C. It resembles a teddy bear similar to 1048, but composed entirely of rusted metal scraps. It was first sighted on blankety blank blank by Dr. Carver in his office while writing up a report on the B incident. Subject fled the room when it noticed Dr. Carver observing it. In the attempted pursuit, Dr. Carver witnessed the death and maiming of blank personnel as the subject exhibited extreme violence during its escape. C has not been encountered since this initial sighting, and it is unknown whether it still resides somewhere within Site-24. The origins of any materials possibly used to construct C by 1048 are also unknown at this time. Addendum 1. SCP-2295 is similar but nearly antithetical in function to 1048. Attempts to establish a common origin are ongoing. Extreme caution is to be taken if A or C are encountered again. I cannot stress this enough. The damn thing jumped right through those poor people. I hope there was nothing from the factory in Site-24. Also, it looks like this one is only keter because they don't know where it is. The Bone Taker Owl. Like the Superb Owl, except nothing like the Superb Owl. SCP-1049 is to be kept in a 1x1x3 meter aviary. Other than a perch 2 meters above the ground, feeder, and water container, no foreign objects are permitted in the enclosure. It must be kept tethered to the perch at all times. If entry to the enclosure is required, protective clothing must be worn and time spent inside must be kept to a minimum, I guess because it takes your bones. It is to be fed a diet consisting mostly of beetles, crickets, and locusts. Small bats or mice may be also offered once per week. Personnel must not enter the enclosure to feed it. The feeder attached to the aviary allows for food to be offered from the outside. 1049 is an adult male black and white owl. Strix... Nigrolinia? What is that? It is... one of those. Yeah, that sounds like the kind of owl I would expect to be a bone taker. It is physically identical to any other member of its species save for its eyes, which are reddish pink. Its dietary needs and hunting behaviors are similar to those of any other owl. However, 1049 exhibits the ability to remove the skeletons of humans by unknown means. It is presumed that it does this only to humans, as 1049 does not appear to have used the ability on any creatures prior to containment. It was found after police in Blank, Mexico, made reports of boneless corpse being found in the nearby jungle with no signs of external injury or another person having committed the crime. However, one victim had been found with several feathers resting on the corpse's chest, which were identified as belonging to an owl. Locals in the area reported seeing an unusual red-eyed specimen near where the corpses were found and claimed that it had caused the deaths of the victims. Police immediately discounted the claims. Foundation officials received the report during routine intelligence checks and searched the area, eventually finding 1049. Before it could be contained, it alighted upon the shoulder of Agent Blank. 1049 bit at Agent Blank's face, although Agent suffered no injury. After several seconds, Agent collapsed. Their body appeared to cave in on itself. The remains were found to be completely boneless. Cause of death is believed to be pressure and shock applied to the brain after the loss of the cranium. 1049 later produced a pellet containing small pieces of human bone, including phalange fragments and a cochlea. Testing confirmed that the fragments belonged to Agent Blank. 1049 will attack any human it sees in this manner, resulting in a complete loss of bone tissue and resultant death. Addendum. Examination of 1049 reveals no internal anomalies or any indication of what causes the reaction seen in Agent Blank. It is also unknown how bone fragments are ingested by 1049, as it does not attempt to eat its victims. So it's just an owl that's just out there pecking people, and then their bones just leave and appear inside of its poop. Sorry, its pellets. That's weird. And it looks like it's only safe as long as they don't go in there with it. And the Obsidian Obelisk of Warning, as opposed to the Blue Obelisk the Tormentor. SCP-1051 is to be maintained in a storage facility with interior dimensions of at least 5 by 5 by 32 meters. The ceiling of the storage facility, specifically the area directly above 1, must be shielded to block radio waves broadcasting at an intensity of redacted. 1 is currently stored in Area 179. See Addendum 2. And there is an original carving of 1. The text is written in a Proto-Latin language, previously undiscovered alphabet, dated to 53,500-something BCE. Occurrences of 2 are to be located upon identification of the corresponding change in 1. These are to be located and confiscated by Foundation agents. 2 is to be stored in a secure classified document storage. Instances of 3 must be tracked by monitoring radio telescope telemetry. When an instance of 3 is detected by non-Foundation personnel, all records must be confiscated and or destroyed, and affected persons should be administered amnestics. So that's one of those articles. 1050 consists of 1 item and 2 related phenomena, 2 and 3. 1 was recovered from a secret German research facility and redacted following the conclusion of the Second World War. 2A was recovered from Soviet NKVD archives in 1950-something. 2B was recovered by 9S from the British Crown archives in 1950-something, and 1's previous origins are unknown. SCP-1050-1 is a large obelisk made of solid obsidian with approximate dimensions of 1.48 meters by 1.48 meters by 30.5 meters. What does that say? These measurements correspond with the archaic length measure of the Roman passe, equal to 1.48 meters. Dr. von Schmidt. According to Obsidian hydration scaling of the obelisk itself was carved approximately 48,900 and something years ago. Microscopic scans indicate that it is perfectly shaped at the molecular level, indicating creation requiring technology in advance of that available at the present. The obelisk is covered by a variety of writing scripts, all apparently containing the same message, and all apparently carved with the same exact precision as the obelisk itself. The surface of the obelisk appears to be subdivided into 80 1.48 meter by 1.48 meter sections, each with a distinct form of writing. Did I miss something? No, I got it, okay. Of the 80 sections, blank of them have been filled in. Images of several of the carvings on 1050 are in Addendum 3. Linguistic analysis of the scripts indicates the following in chronological order by age except as noted. Blank as yet unidentified scripts bearing no resemblance to any known language or writing style, past or present, with carving dates ranging from 48,000 something years ago to within the last 90. These are presumed to contain the same message as the other scripts. A script of unknown origin dating to the creation of the obelisk, whose spelling and grammatical structure resembles the early forms of ancient Latin, though the alphabet and numeral system are completely different. Jai-Hu symbols. 1 has provided the ability for linguists to read the previously indecipherable Jai-Hu symbols from the ancient China, but the Foundation has not released any information relating to the symbols to the scholarly linguistic community due to the classified nature of 1. Akkadian cuneiform, Egyptian hieroglyphs, Linear A. Okay, same thing, but ancient Minoan culture that time. Olmec, from pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, but didn't release same thing. Classical Latin, early medieval Swedish runes, modern English circa 1891, modern Russian circa 1943. The scripts all appear to contain the same message. The following is the English version of the message as written on 1. Footnotes provide conjectural annotations by the research team. What does that footnote say? With the exception of a change in the ruler and date when the message was proclaimed again, the message appears to be identical in all languages on the obelisk. Beware the destroyers. They come by the millions from the realm of darkness which extends where no stars shine. Conjectured to be interstellar space, possibly intergalactic space. For 1,000 generations they slumber, lying in wait. Great nations rise and flourish. There is peace and prosperity. Then comes the dark times. Then they return. They cull and burn. They're warped and move beyond the pale, bigger than any man unnatural births. Every nail, claw, scale, and spur. Every spike and welt on the hand of those heathen brutes is as barbed steel. It is said that no honed iron is hard enough to pierce them through. No time-proof blade can cut their brutal blood-caked claws. Preceding description, they are warped claws, appears in Beowulf. Armies are raised and cut down like grasses before a scythe. It is said the armies of Amora and Sudum, each 10,000 strong, were swept away by a single rising and setting sun. Archaic Tiberian spellings of Sodom and Gomorrah. Heroes come forth and are slaughtered. Lightning and fire rain from the sky, and the whole earth trembles. There is a deluge, a powerful flood that washes away entire mighty nations and empires. Possible origin of the flood myths that appear across most ancient cultures. The people pray for deliverance from the gods. The gods fight the destroyers, but their efforts are in vain. Iapetos, ancient Greek titan, son of Uranus and Gaia, father of Atlas, Prometheus, Epimetheus, and Menoetius, ancestor of the human race through Prometheus, titan of mortal life, imprisoned in Tartarus by the Olympians. Alcer, archaic form of Osiris, ancient Egyptian god of the afterlife, underworld, and the dead, killed by Seth and had his body torn into 14 pieces, which was scattered throughout the world. Ehecatl, pre-Columbian Aztec wind deity associated with Quetzalcoatl. Su Shang, deified ancient Chinese general more commonly known today as Guan Yu. All perished. The destroyers are to the gods as the gods are to men, and men are to insects, cold and vast and unsympathetic. The wise flee them, the lucky escape. 50 score great vessels were launched to seek refuge from them. Only those led by Satyavrata, initial name of the Hindu figure Manu, believed to be the first king to rule this earth, having saved mankind from the universal flood. Utnapishtim, survivor of the flood myth in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Noach, archaic spelling of Noah from the Abrahamic flood myth. And Deucalion, a son of Prometheus, a Greek myth. He and his wife Pyrrha survived the Greek mythical flood by building a chest. Escaped. The Dark Ones vanquished all before them. They have come before since before time began. Now they slumber. They will return. Beware the destroyers! We'll say. End Edicarian extinction event 542 million years ago. Anabotomian extinction event. Jaspasian extinction event. Ordovician extinction event. Irovican extinction event, or event, didn't say extinction. Mould event, Lao event, and Silurian extinction event, late Devonian extinction event, Carboniferous rainforest collapse, Olson's extinction event, Permian Triassic extinction event, Triassic Jurassic extinction event, Tarsian turnover, End Jurassic extinction event, Aptian extinction event, Cretaceous Tertiary extinction event, 65 million years ago, dinosaurs go extinct. Right. Eocene Oligocene extinction event, Middle Miocene disruption, which is next. Quaternary extinction event approximately 50,000 years ago. Possible date range expunged by O5 command. Wait, when was this one? 50,000. Proclaimed again by Her Majesty Victoria by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland Queen, Defender of the Faith, Empress of India in the year of our Lord 1891. The end of the message is different for each time it is written, varying by which ruler proclaimed again the message, and by altering the date accordingly. Testing has revealed the dates of the carvings of different messages to correspond with the approximate dating provided by the different iterations of the message. So far, Mardesa researchers have identified the following rulers: Legatus Maximus Romulus, 53,500 something BCE, original carving Proto-Latin with alternate alphabet; King Gilgamesh of Uruk, 2,500 something BCE; Pharaoh Kakauer Senuseret the Third of Egyptian Middle Kingdom, 1850 something BCE; King Midas of Minoa, 800 something BCE; Caesar Publius Aelius Traianus Hadriani Augusti, Emperor Hadrian of Rome, 122 CE; King Eric of the Victorious of Sweden, 985 CE; Queen Victoria of Great Britain, 1891; Premier Joseph Stalin of the United Soviet Socialist Republics, 1943 CE. The meanings of the series of numbers appearing in the message is not known for certain. However, if assumed to be standard Earth years from the date of the Big Bang, then the numbers follow a pattern consistent with 4 significant figures, with the major extinction events in the planet's history, followed by a date roughly 50,000 years later. Extensive investigation into prehistoric extinction events thus far have failed to definitively confirm a connection between the events, but has similarly failed to disprove such a connection. One also emits 3 from its apex despite apparently having a composition of solid obsidian. 2 consists of documents with text equivalent to carvings on 1, apparently written by the rulers alleged by 1 to have proclaimed the message. The existence of 2 was discovered when the Russian message, apparently proclaimed by Stalin, mysteriously appeared on 1 overnight while the Obelisk was in a Nazi research lab during the Second World War in 1943. SS researchers discovering the mysteriously added new message, reported the development to their superiors, but no evidence for the origin of the new carving was ever determined by the Nazi research team. 2A, a version of the message written in Stalin's handwriting, was discovered after the war by Foundation operatives. It was located in the archives of the Soviet People's Ministry of Internal Affairs. Okay, so that's what the NKVD means for some reason. Though there is no clear indication whether Stalin ever actually wrote the message. 2B, a handwritten version of the message apparently written by Queen Victoria, was recovered from British archives in 1950-something, where it had apparently been filed without notice. Apart from the fact that both 2A and 2B match handwriting samples of their respective apparent authors, and both seem to have appeared without explanation, no anomalous properties have ever been noted in 2. No further instances of 2 have been uncovered to date. 3 consists of a series of radio messages uncovered at different times by radio telescopes on 4 continents and in orbit. These messages consist of the following: Kau Ki Destrunt, and then a whole bunch of numbers I'm not going to read. The numbers have been determined to be base 8 octal, representations of the 40 base 10 decimal integers in the Obelisk message, preceded by another 60 integers following a similar pattern. It is hypothesized that these numbers may refer to additional events not documented in Earth's paleogeological history. The Proto-Latin messages translates roughly to "Beware the Destroyers." 1 emits 3 from its apex. 3 has also been received from blank other directions in space, including data expunged. These are received as occasional pulses of 1 to 3 repetitions of the 3 message, suggesting similar directional broadcasts to those emanating from 1 being transmitted from rotating planets orbiting other stars. Addendum 1, speculations by the research team, 19-something. 1050 appears to be parts of an interstellar early warning system of unknown origin. Before the invention of more modern forms of rapid communication, some societies would light bonfires atop watchtowers, which would then be observed by the next watchtower, which would then light its own bonfire, and so on. By this method, a warning of an invading army could be passed along tens or hundreds of miles in hours rather than days. Now all of China knows you're here. Perfect. It seems to the research team that 1050 may be something similar, which would explain the signal we've designated 3. Similarly, by having the message written on the obelisk in dozens of languages, and apparently proclaimed by major political rulers of the time, it would increase the likelihood of societies being forewarned about these destroyers, whomever or whatever they may be. 2 might be a means of spurring the governments of major political powers to action, though, due to the fact that this warning has not been visibly taken seriously or even publicly acknowledged, suggests that this has not occurred historically. While it may be attractive to assume such defensive measures as Hadrian's Wall or military buildups by the Nazis were due to preparing to meet some shadowy preternatural threat, no other historical evidence supports this conclusion. Addendum 2, note on containment procedures. Since the Foundation came into possession of 1 in 1940-something, O5 Command has twice amended the special containment procedures, initially requiring the blocking of radio signals, then requiring that radio signals not be blocked, then requiring that they be blocked. These changes have resulted not from alterations in 1, but rather from changes in the perceived threat posed by 1's radio transmissions. The rationale behind blocking 1's broadcast of 3 is that it decreases the likelihood of drawing attention to Earth by removing this planet from the theorized early warning network. The rationale behind not blocking the signal is that if the theories about the possibility of future extinction events being caused by the mentioned destroyers are correct, then this planet has some degree of obligation to warn other planets in danger. At present, the risk of broadcasting the signal are believed to outweigh the benefits. Addendum 3, selected images of carvings from 1050. Okay. Zoomed in detail. It feels like there's not really any real reason to look at these pictures because it's still in some other weird language. But anyway, that does it for this episode of Let's Read the SP Foundation Wiki. In the next episode, we'll be reading Dividend Extraterrestrial, Anna, Overpopulation, the Garden Gnome, and Bugsy. I am fully expecting that one to be Bugsy the cat, the Bobcat, the video game, because they're bad. And I would not be surprised if somebody made an SCP entry about the video game being cursed. But that being said, this has been Anachi Sasuke. If you like this video, a like and subscribe will be groovy. If you like to click the bell, you can do that as well. And I will see y'all in the next one. Later.